I absolutely love what I do. I'm incredibly fortunate. I travel a lot with my work. I've gone to the most incredibly exciting places. I've met the most amazing people. I do really interesting, very complicated work, and every day is different. I wake up and I don't know where I'm going to be by the end of the day, or who I've talked to, what I've done. It's just very exciting. It's really good fun.
What are the kinds of clients that you see here?
Mixture. So I could be dealing with somebody from Central Asia or from Russia. I could be dealing with an English company. I could be dealing with problems in the Middle East. It could be in the energy business, the financial markets, mining. Literally, it's a complete variety, which again is why I feel very spoiled.
What's the most interesting and exciting case that you've had to work on?
That's a really, really good question. Then intellectually, probably the most interesting I had was one where we were trying to recover money, and we were involved in court proceedings in the Caribbean, all over Europe, and also in Central Asia, just trying to get various court orders, trying to find assets, trying to arrest them, and just the logistics of trying to work out and try and stay one step ahead of people moving money around. That was fascinating.
Okay, what challenges have you faced along the way?
I think the hardest challenge was to leave home, my family and my friends, live on my own, and then arrive here and then just rebuild a new life, really. I think that was the biggest challenge.
Okay, what kind of education or pathways would other people be able to do in order to get to the job that you have today?
I think, well, I went to university and I did a degree in geography and history, which didn't really help to get into my job. But I think they are catering school and hospitality and customer service qualification you can have here in this country. But I think just sheer willpower and hard working could get you anywhere, really.
Hi, would you like to tell us your names and what you do?
Sure, I'm Emma Faulkner and I am a second seat trainee here at Weil.
Hi, I'm Chris Evans. I'm a restructuring associate here at Weil.
Great, it seems like it's quite a long journey to get into where you are today, so what kinds of challenges have you had to face?
Yeah, I suppose it is quite a long process actually, because I suppose, I was offered my job a few years before actually starting. And I suppose the biggest challenge is actually deciding what you want to do in the first place, because there's all these different careers floated around, and at uni people are always saying, come and do this, or come and try this job, and actually going somewhere and finding something that you find interesting, something that's challenging, but that you really enjoy and that you actually want to almost dedicate your life to, and then at the same time having to go through the application process, find time to do additional reading and find out about the market, as well as doing your uni work and extracurriculars and working and having jobs at the same time. So it's quite tough, but it's definitely worth the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It's a long period between leaving school and your first day at the firm, and maintaining focus and just doing all of the exams is a lot. I remember looking back on my final year at university, then 2 years at law school, and that was getting on for sort of 20 or 30 3-hour exams, and it's tough, and you have to work at it day in, day out for that period of time. But it pays off. I mean,
there's a lot of pressure, I suppose, because every time you sit an exam you think, well, if I fail this, that's it, my job's out the window.
I think it's quite common knowledge that the getting into law is quite fierce and it's a high competition. So what was the application process like?
I think the interview process was also quite challenging, because you really have to prepare for that. They can ask you questions about the work that the firm does, so you need to kind of have an idea of recent deals and things that have been completed. Also about kind of the market in general, so you need to be up to date in the business news and just everyday news. And just trying to, you've got kind of an hour to impress these people and to make them think, yeah, they can work here. So trying to, be professional and, come across really well, but at the same time, let your personality shine through and be yourself. It just, so challenging. You kind of come out these interviews and you're like, oh my goodness, that was, the toughest thing I've ever had to do.
Did you do any work experience whilst you were studying that helped you to get to where you are?
Yeah, I mean, I did similarly. I did a few of the vacation schemes that various city law firms run, and I was lucky enough to know a few people that already worked in the law. So I spent a week with a judge at the Old Bailey, sitting next to him.
That sounds interesting.
It was, yeah. watching a guy be tried for murder, which was it was fascinating to see. But I decided to pursue commercial law in the end, because that I think stands you in really good stead when it comes around to applying.
But at the same time, like going to the court is, free. Lots of trials are public, so you can just kind of go and sit in a court and watch the trials, and that's a really good learning experience as well, because you get to understand, you'll hear witness statements and things being quoted, and you actually start to pick up and follow what's going on. So you don't have to have kind of set work experience. You can kind of gain legal experience in other ways, which is a really good opportunity.
I came through a different path. I started in retail, working all the hours, growing up, and then I kind of thought I need to choose a different path. And then a friend of mine said there's a role going at his workplace, another law firm, in the post room. So I applied, got the job, started in the post room, and ever since then I've never looked back, and I've just progressed further and further and further and further.
That's great. What kind of qualifications do people usually get in order to get the role that you have today?
There's two paths, what I call the School of Life, or you go through college, university, like catering, hospitality. But I kind of did the other way. I went through life and just learned as I went on, and learned and learned and learned and kept learning, and then I finally honed in on what my skills were and worked hard at them.
What challenges did you face along the way?
Oh, loads. It's basically trying to get into what was then a female-orientated world. Receptionist, if you say receptionist, people automatically think a woman. So that was one of the biggest things I faced, and I wanted to change the way people saw it, and I wanted to get into that role because I like meeting people.
What is a normal day like at Weil?
There is no normal day. What you leave behind, you can come in the morning and it will change with the flick of a switch. So you can walk in and thinking, yeah, that's all happy to go, and then it will change. So you're basically thinking on your feet and thinking while you're running.
My name's Asanka Gamaj. I'm the finance manager at the account section of Weil.
And I'm Amanda Hayes, and I'm the IT trainer within the IT department.
What kind of training or education did you do in order to get the jobs that you have today?
Well, in terms of what I have done, I went to university and did a Bachelor of Commerce, and then I did about 4 or 5 years experience at an accountancy firm. And then once you do that, you can then you're qualified. You can move into industry, and you can pick what kind of industry you want to work in. And I chose the professional services sector. In terms of what you actually need, there are different ways of getting to this position. There are people that can come straight from school and get a more junior role and then work their way up. But it really just depends on where you are and what you want to achieve in the early years.
Mine's a complete opposite to Sanka really. Mine came about through in-placement training, started working, found out I enjoyed learning how applications worked and how to fix problems. So I moved into training, and most of my training courses has come through experience and on-the-job work.
Would you like to outline how a normal day is at Weil? What do you do when you first come to the end of the day?
I'll get my coffee, because you can't survive without coffee in the morning. So get to my desk, read my emails. There's usually a build up of emails overnight. So the time differences mean that there'll be emails that will build up overnight. So you read them in the morning, you action them as required, and then you're ready to start the day. So,
what advice would you give to young people looking to get into accounting or into IT?
With IT, I would say don't be afraid to try things. You've got to have a fairly strong interest in IT, and if you're interested in something, find out as much information as you can. Don't be scared to try something, and just offer for help and assistance wherever you can, and research.
What are some of the highlights of your career at Weil?
I enjoy getting involved in pitches and sort of going out to win a new piece of work where I know the document that I've helped create has helped win an opportunity is always gratifying, and that's a really good thing to see.
Whilst you were studying, did you do any work experience that may have helped you now?
I did. So I worked for Barclays. So getting exposure to marketing in financial services was a really sort of helpful stepping stone into the career I ultimately went into. So my background is I worked in financial services marketing after I graduated, and then moved into professional services marketing. So that really helped me actually whilst I was studying.
You were saying that you may work with a magazine and set a profile for Weil, but what would you say stands out about Weil?
I think one of the key success things for Weil is its people. We have market-leading lawyers, we have market-leading practice areas, so for a marketeer, it makes it really easy to sell actually. You're selling expertise that other people don't have. And it's that combination of people as well as being the top in our business in different areas that really helps sell the brand and the business.
How do you attract the clients that come through the doors?
It's a very competitive market, so it has to go back down to the quality of your people, the quality of the practice areas that you operate, and also I guess law firms are very similar in that they offer excellent services, but you need to be in a position where you can innovate and do something different to what other law firms can't do. So innovation for us is critically important in terms of how we deliver a service to clients, in terms of keeping our clients happy, and that's a key thing for us.
What advice would you give to young people looking to get into marketing?
I would say it's helpful to be passionate about what it is that you're trying to sell. So if you want to get into marketing, you need to sort of believe in whatever it is that you're going into, whether it's a law firm or a consumer goods company or a toy manufacturer. If you're passionate about the product, that's key. So you need to have an interest first of all in being able to sell and want to sell what it is that whatever your business sells. I guess also to the extent that you can whilst you're studying or early on is to get as much work experience you can in marketing departments. Just being aware of what's going on in the market. You know, marketing is such a wide term that it can cover so many different disciplines. It's helpful just to be aware of market trends and what's happening in the marketing space. But getting the experience firsthand is always helpful, I think.
So the coordinator role is something that I applied for after having worked as a legal secretary for almost 20 years. The job came up internally and I applied and was lucky enough to be given the role.
I was actually working in a kitchen for a bank in Canary Wharf and saw some people working on documents and setting up presentations. I became interested in what they were doing. They suggested I work for a temping agency. I started working with them and then got placed here for 2 weeks, but that was about 16 years ago now.
And I know you probably work as a team, but can you explain to us what the importance of that is?
It wouldn't work without working in a team. You need it. You rely on your colleagues to help you out, to point out things with different pairs of eyes, to see different mistakes with different errors, and it's very important that we all work along together.
I'm sure both of, as you've explained, you both work with a lot of documents and a lot of printing and things like this. How do you manage to maintain confidentiality throughout?
In law firms there are very strict rules in place about who gets to see what, and that's something you learn very quickly.